demanded phones from the people in the house, correct?
Usho kanjalo ukuthi kwangena-ke abangenile abawu-2 khona lapha endlini uyama-intruder awu-2 kanti lona-ke umfishanyana owayinama-dreadlocks wase-ke ufuna ama-cellphone.
Yebo kunjani.
That is correct, yes.
And what were the exact words that were uttered by that person, the first suspect with the firearm?
Lo mlisa-ke okanye lo msola wokuqala wakhuluma wathini lawo mazwi awasebenzisa makakhuluma lo bephethe isibhamu wakhuluma wathini?
Akakhulumanga into eningi wafuna amafoni nemali nje.
He didn't say much. He only demanded the cell phones and money. That's it.
Yeah, but understand, what I'm asking you is the exact words that he said, if you recall.
Yabona-ke engithanda ukuzwa kuwe ukuthi wasebenzisa maphi amazwi futhi makakhuluma wathini ilokho engikufunayo kuwe.
Noma ngeke ngiwasho exactly amagama awasho nje benjalo but engakhumbulayo ukuthi wafuna amafoni nemali. Ngibona ngikhumbulayo lokho.
Even though I cannot recall the exact wording, however, what I remember is the fact that he demanded the cell phones and money. That I can remember.
In what language did he demand cell phones and money?
Wayesebenzisa lokulwimi njengoba efuna ama-cell phones nemali.
Wayesebenzisa ulimi lwesiZulu.
IsiZulu.
And what was his demeanor when he made that demand for cell phones and money?
Ubebuke kanjani-ke makenza-ke lezo ephoqa-ke futhi lezo zinto?
Understand umuze ibuya kanjani mhlambe kanjani
mawumbheka nje ube njani ubona ini kuyena beyiphethe kanjani ngoba efuna i-cellphone nemali ama-cellphone nemali.
Sima ngikusona ngangenako ukuthi ngimbheke umuntu ezifu ngibukele imovie relaxing because uqala kunovalo phakathi nawuthuka yonke leyo nto so angeke ngibuke exactly emehlweni.
My observation would not be an observation of a person that would be, relaxed as though they are watching a movie. Remember, I also was shocked or was frightened. So my reaction to that type of a scene wouldn't have been a quite relaxed observation.
Now, did you see a firearm that night?
Was born.
The boy's pet.
Yes, he was in possession of that firearm.
And how did that suspect with the firearm hold that firearm as he came in towards the hallway in the house?
Makangena-ke endlini ephethe isibhamu kanjalo ubesiphethe kanjani ngakwazi ukusibonisa?
Wayesiphethe ngesandla saka-right.
He had the firearm, or he held the firearm with his right hand.
Yes, but what I want to know, was it pointed at the people in the house with his hand outstretched in front, or was it holding it down as he entered the house?
Yeah, wayesiphethe kanje but not ukuthi like ukhumba umuntu oyedwa. Wayesiphethe ngesandla nje kanje.
It was
really kanje ngobheke njengoba mina ngibona umbhobho waso.
It was wielded in that fashion, in other words, in a pointing form, even though he wasn't pointing at any person in particular, but it was in a pointing form. And I was able to see the barrel of that firearm. As I was positioned like that, when I looked at the firearm, I could then have access to the barrel of the firearm as it was wielded in that fashion.
Now, taking from what you say that it wasn't pointed at a specific person, because remember, according to the photos that we've seen, there were 2 couches with 3 people on this side, 3 people on this side, and Kelly on the other side towards the passage. Did he move it around to show his dominance of the people in the house, or was it just in a fixed position but not particularly?
Ngoba besizosho-ke ukuthi kwakhona ama-couch amabili 3 behleli ngapha 3 behleli ngapha ukheli ubehleli ukuya khona lapha ne-passage mhlambe-ke ubeloko esikhomba kanjalo esihambisa ukubonisa-ke ukuthi usebenzisa-ke igunya lakhe phezu kwawo wonke umuntu obekhona ngalapho okanye ukuba namandla phezu kwawo wonke umuntu obekhona ngalapha endlini. wayelokhu esihambisa kanjalo leso sibhamu noma kanjani.
Ukwenza kwalento akwenzekanga isikhathi eside, so wawungeke kube nalento ukuthi ucheck-a yini ukuthi wenzani because ngiyabe sengisho ukuthi kwakunovalo phakathi.
Now this
Mhlawumbe ngase ngiwasusile amehlo kena ngizama ukukhipha ngizama nokukhipha ifoni mina ephakethini.
Now, this incident actually happened at the shortest time I can remember. One would not necessarily be having an opportunity to can observe what this person was doing in detail. Remember, I've already indicated that I personally was under shock as well, and that it could have been that I also took out my cell phone from within the pocket at that time.
Now, during that stage, did the gunman cock or wreck the firearm?
Ngaleso sikhathi was British Palm, lo muntu British Palm ngaleso sikhathi.
Hayi cha wafika nje sesikhomba nje azangas.
No, he didn't cock the firearm. He just barged in there with the firearm wielded out.
Now, just to go back on something that you just mentioned before about the firearm, which position or from which perspective did you see the firearm, the front or the side of the firearm?
Otsheke ubone yiphi ingxenye yesibhamu? The barrel, the front side of the barrel of the firearm.
So you were literally staring down the barrel of a gun. What color was the firearm, if you recall?
Umbala obunjani waleso sibhamu uma ngabe uyakhumbula?
Ngathi nje simnyamanyana kugile ugrasti kugile nje.
It was blackish, worn out, kind of rusty.
And just by using the dimensions with your hands, can you tell the length of that firearm?
Usebenzisa izandla zakho ngakwazi ukuthi mhlambe usidebele nje umfanekiso ukuthi sasisikhulu kangakanani ubude baso leso sibhamu.
Mhlawumbe sasisingakanyana nje.
That could have been the estimated length of the firearm. I went a foot.
Mhlawumbe sasisingakanyana. Sasingasikhulu kakhulu singaside.
More about 14 centimeters, about 14 centimeters. 20.
And then also, could you tell if the firearm had a wheel on the side, something that looked like a wheel or a retreating object on the side?
Ubungwazi ubona mhlambe leso sibhamu sasine into engathi i-wheel okanye isonto nyana nje lapha kuso leso sibhamu. Ngathi iyajikeleza nje.
Ngabona ngathi isona esinesona impela mangisibuka but anjona ngisho ngisibukanga isikhathi eside nami.
I looked at it and like I have already said that I didn't take a lot of time to can observe that particular firearm, but it looked to me as though it was a firearm that had a wheel on it.
Now, prior to the events of the 26th of October 2014, had you seen the person that was holding the firearm in the house that night?
And when this was 26th October 2014, lo mlisa lo muntu bephethe isibhamu ngaleso sikhathi uke wambona phambilini ubuke wambona
ngingambona
shothi ke angisho isigameko senzeke nge-26
yes
phambi kwe-26 ubuke wambona nanoma ikuphi lo mlisa bephethe isibhamu
cha bangaze ngimbone.
I've never seen him before.
And after the incident of the 26th of August 2014, October 2014, I'm sorry, did you see that person again? Have you ever seen him since?
Emva kwesigameko sange-26 October 2014 uphinde wambona futhi?
Cha bangaze ngimbone.
I've never seen him.
Now, would I be correct to say that the people that entered the house that night, the two suspects, were complete strangers to you?
Ngakusho ke ukuthi labantu abangena ngalobo busuku endlini abantu nje ubungabazi uhlobo nje.
Yeah, abantu engabazi.
Yes, those were unknown people to me.
Now, you testified, and if I understood your testimony correctly, is that you only saw the second suspect because you didn't immediately stand up when the rest of the people stood up to confront the suspects. So you only saw the second suspect later, correct?
Ngabe kunjalo ukuthi wena uye wambona emva kwesikhashana ngoba phela ngenkathi wonke umuntu esukume yakubo eyakuye lo umsolo wesibili wena zange ube nabo ngaleso sikhathi wase ke umbona emva kwesikhashana ke ngoba zange usuke nabanye ilokho kusho
indlela aqhamuka ngayo wema lapha ngomnyango uyena umuntu oqala umbonayo so lo munye wayengakaveli ngaleso sikhathi.
The manner in which he appeared in the scene and he stood by the door there, he was the very first person that one could see. And I don't think at the time that we were pointed with a firearm from this one who was in possession of the firearm, the other one had not appeared as yet on our side.
Okay. When did you see the second suspect for the first time then that night in the house?
Lona ke wesibili wambona nini khona lapha endlini. Ukuthi makwenzakala ini.
Angithi lo uqala mayefika emala esikhomba efuna amafoni imali. Wasukuma nomfana lo mphusha.
Now, isn't it so that the first one that came and pointed us with a firearm and he demanded the cell phones and the money, and there was this young man that stood up and pushed or thrust at him. Now, as he thrust at him, everyone else stood up because he thrust at him and then exited running out of the house. And then there was a stage where everybody then stood up.
Now,
at that stage where Kelly went and ran into the other bedroom that is just on the right, this is when, that was at that stage where I realized that there is now a second person or there is another person.
Okay, Mr. Baloyi asked you yesterday, rather than saying this boy, this guy, mention people by name so that the record is clear as to who
you're talking
about.
Yeah,
okay.
I understand.
So when you say that this guy pushed this one, you are referring to Longo Twala pushing the first suspect.
Lo guy lo pusha lo. Ubukhuluma ngoLongo Twala pusha lona umso.
Yeah, ngikhuluma ngayo.
Yes, I was referring to Longo Twala.
Now, this second suspect, what did he do when you saw him, at the time you saw him?
Lona wesibili uma umbona bekenzani?
Ngicabanga ukuthi bezama ukuyongena la ebedroom lethwele pushana ngasenzo bezomncikisa ngasestabhini sekhishi.
I think he wanted to go into the bedroom, and it was at that stage that Senzo struggled together with him or wrestled together with him, and he pushed him and pinned him against the door.
Okay. Zandile Kumalo testified on that aspect in his court to say the second intruder then chased Kelly to the bedroom that is opposite the kitchen, directly opposite the kitchen when he entered the house. Did you see that happening?
Zandile Kumalo ukshilo lokho ukuthi lo wesibili owangena lapha endlini waseke ugijimisa lona uKelly waye gijimela ngakulela kamero elalibhekene nekhishi wena ke uye wakwazi ukuthi ubone lokho?
Yebo ngakubona.
Yes, I witnessed that.
But then I'm confused because you say Senzo then I think went to that person before. Clarify that for me. Senzo and the second intruder, please.
Akuzame ke ukuyixexisa ngoba manje usukhuluma ukuthi uSenzo waseke uyambamba uyampusha ngapha ke ugijimisa uKelly lona awuzama ukuyixexisa ukuthi ukuqala.
Angithi uSenzo the time kufika lokuqala elwa nalokuqala bebambe shuvulana lokuqala ne So ila ngibone khona ke lo kathi balekele engenela ukukhela ikamereni eseza ke lo wesibili suthi angazi ukuthi wayiza kanjani nami ngoba usenzo wayembambe nje isandla lesi ofisho konta ayiphethe esandleni ngoba emphushela udongeni la ngase ngithi ngizama ukubaleka khona ke nango sempushelela udongeni la ngafika ngashaya khona la.
Isn't it so that there was a time that Senzo was also wrestling with his first one, and as he was busy wrestling with his first one, here is Kelly now running into the bedroom. At that stage, this is when I see the other one now appearing, and then it was Senzo now wrestling together with this one. Moti usenzo wa wrestling nayo wayo mbeko ilo wesibili. Now he grabbed the second one and wrestled with him and pushed him against the wall.
So that I understand it, it's the confusion. Senzo, let's start it afresh. Senzo initially struggles and pushes and fights with the first suspect.
Ngabe kunjalo ake sithathe singajahi usenzo okokuqala nakulwisana nalowo wokuqala umsolo wokuqala kube njalo.
Yes,
futhi bayabamba lapho yena.
Yeah, wayengekho yedwa kodwa futhi
khona lapho kulowo wokuqala
uZandi. Yes, kwakhona uZandi noma ngazani.
Yes, even though he was not alone there on that first struggle, because Zandi was there and Zandi's mother was also there.
Then ila khona ke abamba lo angazi mhlambe lo wayeza kuye or something lo mbamba lo suspect lo wesibili. No.
Right there, that is when he grabbed the second suspect. I don't know how did it come about, but he grabbed the second suspect. And then pushed him close to the door, just next to the kitchen door there.
And you mentioned, I think, just now, that the second suspect, you say he had possibly something in his head.
Usho into njalo ngazothi uthe lo wesibili kwakungathi khona into abayiphethe esandleni sakhe.
Yebo ngisho njalo impela.
Yes, indeed so. That is what I said.
Okay. And did you observe what that something was?
Uye wakwazi ukubona yini ukuthi kuyini lokho ebephethe?
No, angikubonanga but ngabona usenzo ngendlela ambambe ngayo lesandla saka right because indlela ambambe ngayo ngesandla soku2.
No, I did not. I did not really observe what he was in possession of. I only observed the manner in which Senzo had grabbed him, grabbed his right arm, and he used his two hands to hold on to that right arm of the suspect.
But from your vantage point, did you see the second intruder in possession of any weapon?
When uqhamuka labo khona obukwazi ukumbona lona umsola wesibili ephethe isikhali kuye nanoma esenjani.
Njengoba ngishilo ukuthi bengeke ngiphonse amehlo ami kuyona yonke into eyenzakala endlini because nami bengakho bengarelaxile.
Now, as I've already pointed out that I couldn't or I wouldn't be in the position to can observe everything that was happening in the house, because even myself I was in a frightened state.
Okay, just to clarify it, and with respect to Thokozisi Twala's testimony on that aspect, he testified that the second intruder was in possession of a knife. Did you see a knife?
I guess buya ke lokufakazi bukaMthokozisi. uMthokozisi yena ke uthi ubone lo umsola wesibili okanye lo umngeneleli wesibili ephethe umese kuyena. Uke wawubona lo mese wena?
Kwakubhala uMthokozisi kusho ukuthi usho into ayibona yena. Mina angizange ngibe nasikhathi sokubona nje ngendlela ngoba ngangithi ngijonge usenze bambe nalo ngangifuna ukuphuma kahle kahle umthetho wami endlini.
No,
ethwele ngamakhona usenze wayipresele nalo.
No.
So angizange ukubona.
No, I did not observe the knife, as I've already indicated that at the time that Senzo was busy wrestling with this man, I also stood there as well and became a part of that. And whatever it is that is contained within Thokozisi's statement, that is what he witnessed himself that has been reduced into writing. But I personally, I didn't see that.
And the second suspect, I'm not sure whether I've asked you this, but I'll ask it anyway. Did he say something or utter any words as he entered the house or during the incident?
Lo msolo wesibini makangena endlini ngabe kukhona amaza awakhuluma. Himself. No, there isn't.
And during the incident, did the first and the second suspect communicate amongst each other?
Khona lapho kuleso sigameko. Ngabe lona wokuqala nowesibini babelokhu bekhulumisana?
Angibonanga lokho.
I did not observe nor witness that.
Now, yesterday you lost me with respect to the descriptions of the two suspects that entered the house. Let's discuss first the description of the first intruder, the first suspect, the shot one with a firearm.
Izolo ngengathi ukulahleka ngekhathi wena uphana ngomfanekiso walona owokuqala, i-intruder yokuqala. Ake siqale ngaye ke lo wokuqala. Uthi ke wena ke uthe umuntu ebebukeka kanjani?
Wayemfishane enama-dread efake isigqoko efake ijacket ungathi caramel.
He was shot having dreadlocks and he had worn a hat and also was wearing a jacket, caramelish in color. And he had widened eyes or big eyes.
Okay. And I see when you describe the dreadlocks, you keep on doing this. What are you
ngiyabona kusebenzisa nezandla zakho ukukhuluma ngama-dreadlocks futhi izandla zihambela khona lana entanyeni mawuloku ukhuluma kanjalo usho ukuthini-ke?
Ama-dread ano size.
Yeah, the dreadlocks have got their size.
So awakhe ayingamade ukuthi made kakhulu njengophunda la ngathi ayigcina la.
His were not as long. When you see me, sort of signaling with my hands, I am trying to describe the length of those dreadlocks, that this is how far those dreadlocks would go, or this is up to how far they could reach.
And were you in a position with the first suspect wearing the hat to see whether or not those dreadlocks were braided dreadlocks? You know what I'm talking about? There are these styles that they do, guys, braid them towards the back or whatever braid they prefer.
Ngoba ke lo mliso befaka isigqoko ubona ama dreadlocks kuye uye wakwazi ukuqaphela yini ukuthi kwakungama dreadlocks athe ukuqhinwa nje. Yabona kukhona nje ama dreadlocks la ukuthi umuntu avese nje athi no ithi ngenza istyle inyana waqhine ngabambe ngenze ube waqaphela lokho mhlawumbe with lawo ma dreadlocks apha.
Ukuvela wawo ayivela la because angithi ufake isigqoko so ayivela la ayingaveli ngangamboni nangemuva nabo ayivela nje la.
Now, the visibility of those dreadlocks was starting from the temporal area going down. Look on the top of the head or the crown of the head. I couldn't see because remember that he was wearing a hat, so I couldn't see on top of the head as to how those dreadlocks look like.
Let's go on to the second suspect. By what identifying features did you notice him?
Ake size ke kulomsolo wesibili. Impawu ozewayibona kuyena ezikwaziyo ukuthi ziphana ngomfanekiso omayelana naye kwaba eziphi impawu?
Lo wesibili ngiyangasho futhi nasekuqaleni ukuthi sometimes noma ungangaba able ukuthi umuntu umuntu kodwa umuntu okwangibona before uyamazi.
Now, regarding the second person, even though one could fail to draw or to finish with the features that would be drawn about that particular person, but I said that if a person happened to have been a person that you saw or encountered, you will always recognize that person.
Mr. Madlala, I'm not gonna fight with you. I'm a very fair lawyer. If you don't understand the question, ask me to repeat it
Angeke ke ngize ngilwe nawe.
and answer a direct question directly, please.
Ngumeli nje oyilungele. Manje uma ke wena awukwazi ukuphendula umbuzo ke, cela ukuthi ke uphinde futhi lo mbuzo okanye ucacisele.
Hayi vele azizile ukuzona. So le ngesibazulu ngiunderstand.
I agree.
Azizile ukuzona.
I agree, yes. We are not here to fight. Yes, I agree.
Now let's try that question again.
Yes.
By what identifying features did you notice the second suspect?
Ake size lapho ke. Ziphi impawu ukwazile ukukhuluma ngalo wokuqala ngisho
Yes.
eziphi impawu ke masiza kulo wesibili okwazile ukuthi uyibone uthi cha yabona lezi ke yizona ezingisiza ukuthi ngisho ukuthi uyelo bekuyini
Ukuqala nje njengoba ngisho ukuthi ukuqala kwami ungena la ngambona. If wakwabona umuntu before umqondo wakho mathi usumlibele but mangombona futhi uba nalokuthi ngiyangimazi lapho lo muntu lo.
Now, the first thing that I have indicated was that as I walked into the courtroom, I was then able to see him, and I said to myself, this person I once met before, and the question could be that, where did I meet with this particular person? That's number one.
Okwesibili ngimkhumbula nangentsebe yakhe ayenzile ngaleso sikhathi. Base ngisho umqondo wami ngiyamkhumbula nje intshebe yakhe ayenzile because ubeshiye lokho kula kuthuswana eshila eshiye igundile nje ikhathi iround umlomo. So eshiye lokho kulana ke khathile nje kahle.
I also remember him based on the beard, how his beard was actually trimmed. It was trimmed such that it has formed an O around his, his mouth, upper lip as well as the chin, so covering that area. That I saw, and as well as a bit of the hair here, just under the lower lip.
Nanokuthi wayemudeke futhi.
And further, that he was tall in physique.
Now, let's talk about the beard here beneath the lower lip. How pronounced or visible was that? How thick was that beard here?
Yabona le ntshana eyayila ngaphansi kwalolu udebe ngaphansi. Benjani? Inwele lezi zakhona bezinjani? Beyibonakala kangakanani?
Lentshebe lapha la ayijwayele kuba inkulu vele. Even noma ikhula ayijwayele kuba inkulu. Ayikazi ibe inkulu. Eziningi kwazi ukuchaza usize wakho kodwa ayibi inkulu.
Now, generally, that beard at that particular spot does not grow to be very bushy. I may not necessarily give a clearer description pertaining it, but it doesn't. It doesn't grow to be very, very thick and bushy, that one.
Now, accused number 2 instructs me that he's never had this beard here. In fact, it doesn't grow on him, and he's never had an O-shaped beard, like you say, the second suspect had. And furthermore, that he's always kept the goatee, the one that you see here in court, from as long as he can remember.
Futhi akakaze abe nonwele oluvela khona la ngaphansi kwalolu debe ngaphansi. Kwalende ngaphansi. Futhi ke akakaze ke enze leso style se njengoba wena usho ke zamadevu kanjalo. Kanti ke ube logo ebukeka ngalendlela ebukeka ngakhona. I should also indicate that the witness find it amusing right now before he can even answer.
Angimazi uqondeni ngalokho futhi mina ngiyagula ekhanda lapho.
I don't know what is he intending with that. It means that I am insane in my mind.
Kuloko akushoyo angimazi ukuthathela vele ke icala umphiko kuloko akushoyo angimazi ukuthathela ezifo wena Mr. Ramsibele umele yena la.
As far
Kufanele
as
aphile lo.
now, the hand of the accused number 2 is out, my
Let me
lord.
approach. I mean, that's it, my lord. He's saying if the court is willing, he can come and have a look at him.
Which
here.
court?
If the court
Which
is,
one?
sorry, my lord.
Which court?
This one, my lord.
Anas.
No, sorry, the witness, my lord, not the court. Sorry, my if the witness can be allowed by the court to go and have a look at him that he's never had that beard that he testifies about.
He is inviting the witness to go to him.
Yes,
angisoze ngasondela eduze kwakhe
I
ngishise
will
ithanda
never- I will
Yabona nje
never
behle lapho
go close.
seyisitha nami soze
I will never come close to him. As he's seated there, he's actually my enemy. I will never, even if he may want for me to come close to him, I won't go to him.
kunento ekufanele bayazi nabafowethu mina nginandaba nabo angibasabi futhi yabo manje basabisa vele bengibuka kambo ngathi khona into abazonyenza hayi hawu
There's this one thing, may I interpret this? There's this one thing that all these gentlemen here who are seated there should know about me. I don't care about them. I don't care, and I'm not even afraid of them. They're seated there looking at me like that. I don't care about them.
no, that's fine. What he was just saying is that as much as you are adamant that he had this beard, he's also adamant that he has never had it. That's the point.
Uyabona ke njengoba nawe udizelela ukuthi ube nentshatshana la. Uyasho ke naye ube ngenayo.
hayi akushoyo nami ngizovela kuprove but mina ngiyakusho lokukhona ngiyakwazi futhi ngakubona
Now whatever that he says, he's got the right to can prove it. However, on my side, I know what is it that I witnessed. I know what I saw. And it is there.
Now, I put it to you that the description by which you identified accused number 2 is vague and general, and it meets all sort of thousands and thousands of men out there.
Ngibeka kuwe ke ukuthi yabona ke lo mfanekiso othulela enkantolo omayelana nomangalelo wesibini. Umfanekiso nje ongavela ufane nanoma ubani. Ngoba phela ke awuyikhethanga lo mfanekiso. Futhi ke awunazo izimpawu ezikhethile nanoma ubani ngaba yingcenye yalo mfanekiso wena ophana ngawo la enkantolo.
ya phela mina la enkantolo angizela nginanongibani ngize ngalo engimbonayo mina ngikhuluma ngalo engimbonayo hayi nanongibani
Now the fact of the matter is that I am not here for any other man or any other person that I see. There is a person in particular that had led me to come and testify in this court.
In fact, I put it to you that that description of a beard below the lower lip, an O-type beard around the mouth, height, and a hoodie wouldn't assist the police in locating the perpetrator. If you said to the police, go and look for this perpetrator,
Engikushoyo ke
three
ukuthi
descriptors.
lezo impawu ophane ngazo le ntshatshana kuyi okanye le eyayilana nalowo intshebe yayenza olana emlomeni nokuthi ke ubefake ihudi ube mude angeke kwazi ukusiza amaphoyisa uma umuntu engathi ke nawo ke umfanekiso sengimnikezile hambani uyofuna lowo muntu angeke kwazi ukusiza amaphoyisa
but ikhona nje mina engimbona ngangona endlini imini engimbonayo yeka kumfana imini engimbonayo
I am available. Isn't it so that I'm the one that witnessed? I was in the house. I'm the one that saw him. So I am the one that saw him. And I'm here.
Now, before the intruders came into the house, you testified that you were watching or observing Kelly Kumalo narrating a story about different churches or whatever story she was narrating.
Usho kanjalo ukuthi angokuba ke lo umngene kangena endlini benilokunilaleleyo okanye limbuke lona uKelly lokukhuluma ke lezi zinto abeyikhuluma ezifake ngaphakathi amabandla kanjalo.
yebo kunjalo
Yes, it is indeed so.
Now, how far was the first suspect from you where you were seated when you first noticed him?
Ube kude kangani nawe ukusuka labo uhleli khona lo ungenele uqala mawumbona. Ukuthatha nala wena buhleli ngakho. Ungasho ukuthi ngoba ngihleli la yena ube lapha yana wena ube lapha yana wena.
I think bekuindicate la isithombe because besivele isithombe ngasho ukuthi ngabe ngihleli kuphi umsola uqala wangena wama kuphi.
Now, I think it was depicted in one of the pictures that I indicated that this is where I was seated at, and this is where the intruder came and stood at.
Yeah, but the picture doesn't show measurements of distance. They only depict the sofas and the hallway.
Uyabona ke isithombe as esinikezi nje ibanga okanye ke ama distance kanjalo.
Nama ngengikwazi ukuqala ama distance. Na inkinga engaba ngizobheka ngengikwazi ukuqala ama distance.
I also cannot measure distances.
Because le yandla
That's my
incane.
problem because that house is small.
Incane.
That house is small.
Now, the first suspect gets into the house and Kelly's narrating the story. Did the first suspect do anything to Kelly before she ran to the bedroom?
Lo oqala uyangena. uKelly lokuyakhuluma la endlini. Ngabe khona ukuthize ke akwenza kuKelly. Emva ukuthi uKelly abaleka engase egumbini lokulala.
Nah, akukho.
No, there isn't anything that he did to her.
Now, according to your version, is that Longwe Twala, out of the blue, stands up, approaches the suspect with a firearm, pushes him away, and then goes out of the house, correct?
Ilokho kushoyo ukuthi nangu umsolo uphethe isibhamu uyasukuma ulongwe uya kuye uyamphusha ubese uyaphuma ulongwe ilokho kushoyo.
Angibonanga ngisho esukuma lokho kusukuma ngathi uzosuka aqala bese yabali angibonanga ngisho esukuma ngendlela wasuka nje straight eyomphusha lo ngokukhulu ukushesha angibonanga ngisho iqala esukuma ke nje.
Now, I didn't even see or witness him at the time that he stood up. What I saw was that he just took off and stomped at him, pushed him away, and then he exited.
I get you that everything was happening super fast.
Ngithola ukuthi lokho kwenzeka ngokusheshsha okukhulu.
They made super fast.
Fast.
Yeah, ngokushesha.
Yes. I got a bit confused when you said super fast. Yes, fast, I agree.
And along the same idea, did you see where and how Longwe Twala pushed the first suspect?
Where in terms of the position?
Where on the body of the
Where on
second
the body?
suspect did Longwe push him?
Uke wabona nje uthe makamthinta emphusha wamthinta kuphi emzimbeni?
Ayanginakanga kwayilo ukuthi wamthinta kuphi kodwa ngwazi wamphusha nje waseyaphuma.
I didn't take notice of that as to what particular part of the body did he actually come in contact with. All I know is that he just pushed him and then fled out.
I think lokhu sezosiphendulela yena meza la icourt.
I think it will now be up to him to come and explain to the court.
Yeah, but I'm asking your recollection. You were there observing the incidents as they happened.
Mina ke se ngiyazama ke ngiyayinusela la kuwe mayelana ke nokukhumbula kwakho wena umuntu okwazile ukubona ukuthi kwenzakalani.
Yes, uqinisile ngalapho but ngangengobserve yonke into ongazi ukuthi ngihleli njengoba sengichazile kanye ngihlale ngibukele yonke into ongazi ukuthi kumnandi.
Now you that is true that there are certain things that I may have observed. But bear in mind, I wasn't just relaxed, as though now I'm watching something that was happening in front of my eyes. Because one of the things that I was thinking of was, I should also exit the house.
And at the time, Longwe, like, let's forget about standing up, you seeing him pushing the first suspect. Was the first suspect still pointing the firearm at the people in the house?
Ngenkathi umbone ephusha lo ke ususpect oqala. Ngabe lo suspect oqala ube vele elogo ekhombe isibhamu kulabantu abebekhona endlini.
Yebo.
Yes.
And what did the second suspect do after being pushed by Longwe?
Wenzani ke emva ukuthi aphushe uLongwe? lo kunjani uqala suspect uqala.
Lo wesibini ne? Hayi lo wesibini.
Are we
The
referring
first
to the
suspect, remember, one way pushes him. What happens to him? Does he stumble? Does he fall? What happens to him?
uyathola shothi ke uyamphusha lo uqala lo ngiyamphusha
Yes.
wenzakala makamphusha wenze njani
Akawanga
uyawa or
akawanga phansi.
no he didn't entirely fall. He didn't fall to the floor.
What happened to him?
Wenzakala
according to your
ngani?
observation.
Still wayesamile but ukuthi wenza wayesamile kodwa azange awe like phansi nje.
He didn't fall to the floor. He was still standing.
And as Longwe is now, has pushed this first suspect, where's the second suspect in relation to this incident of Longwe pushing the first suspect?
Ulongwe nangusephushe lona uqala. Ukuphi ke lo wesibini?
I think wangasemnyango.
He was on the door side.
Umnyango lo wasekitchen wangasemnyango lo wasekitchen.
He was along or by the door of the kitchen.
Let's clarify the door, because if we refer to the door, it's been used, different ways here. And you refer to the brown door, the actual door,
The kitchen
where there's
door,
a
yes.
security gate. You referring to
I'm
that?
referring to the kitchen door.
Okay. And as Longwe is now, was he running? Was he walking out of the house?
Ulongwe
Did he leave the house?
ube kitchen ephuma endlini noma ube hambela nje ephuma endlini.
Hayi wayekitchen.
He was running.
Kitchen.
Did the first or the second suspect try to restrain him from running away?
Ngabe lo wokuqala noma wesibini bazama ukumnqanda ukuthi angabaleki.
Njengoba ngisho ukuthi ngangikwazi ukumbona lo wesibili if ngingasukumanga ngamala ngasekitchen la from where la ngangikhona ngithi kunobonda umbona umuntu lapho ubona lo seqhamukile kwena.
Now, as I've already indicated, that I wouldn't have been able to see the second suspect at the time because there is a wall that is between that kitchen area and as well as where I was. You can only see a person when he appears close to where I was at the time. So the second one, I couldn't see him.
So did the first suspect chase after Longwe?
Lo wokuqala ke wagijimisa uLongwe.
Hayi lo uthakaza mgijimisi.
No, he didn't chase after Longwe.
Now your testimony further is that once Longwe had pushed the first suspect away and ran out of the house, it gave the people in the house an opportunity to stand up from the sofas that they were sitting at, correct?
Yilokho kushilo ukuthi emva kokuthi lona uLongwe aphushe lo msolo wokuqala. Lokho kwanikeza abantu ababesendlini ithuba lokuthi nabo mabasukume baye kuyeke bayobhekana naye ngqo.
Yebo kunjalo.
That is indeed so.
And that is the start of what has been termed by previous witnesses here as a scuffle in the house, right?
Kwaba uqala ke kwaleyo ngqisho usho ukuthi lo uqala ke oke omnye wofakazi oke weza wazala enkantolo khuluma ngendaba ukuthi kwaba nokudonsa donsana ke lapho okanye inqisho ke yabakhona.
Yeah kunjalo.
That is indeed so.
And this scuffle starts from the sitting room area and ends up deep in the kitchen towards the door. In fact, actually at the door, correct?
Kuqala khona lapha yana ke ngase kitchen ukufika ngale emnyango wase kitchen.
Yebo kunjalo.
It is indeed so.
Now, earlier on and even yesterday, you stated that Senzo Meyiwa was now pinning the second suspect against a wall, holding the second suspect's arm with his two hands. That is Senzo's two hands, correct?
Ilokho kushilo ukuthi naku ke usebamba lona owesibini uyambamba ke wase umbeka nje khona lapha emphushela embambela edongweni esebenzisa izandla zakhe ezuthu ebambe nje ingalo yakhe yodwa.
Yebo kunjalo.
It is indeed so, yes.
And your testimony is that your crutches were used, but in particular, you vividly remember Zandi Kumalo hitting, was it the second suspect with a crutch. Was that your evidence?
Uyakhumbula ngendlela egqamile mayelana ke nama-crashes wakho uthi lona uZandi Khumalo washaya muphi ke umsolo owokuqala noma owesibili nge-crash?
Mina ngikhumbulelwa nalo kuqala lokuyena wayenza ama-threat.
I remember her fighting with the first one, the one that had dreadlocks.
Yeah, yes, I understand that. But the one that she actually hit with a crutch, which one was that between the first and the second suspect?
Lo amshaya ngale crash omuphi owokuqala noma owesibili ngikhumbula?
Ngiyasho ukuthi ubekalwa nalo bebeshaya lo wama-threat lo kuqala.
I am saying that he was she was fighting, or they were fighting with the first one that was having dreadlocks.
Now, on that aspect, Zandi Khumalo testified in court as follows, that she then went and fetched a crutch from next to the heater where the crutches were.
Okushilo kanjalo uZandi ukuthi wahamba wathatha icrash eyayiseduze neheater laphayana, uyavuma?
Yeah, ama-crutches ayetayila ebondeni nje liseduze ne-heater.
Yes, I concur with that. The crutches were just leaning against the wall, close to where the heater was.
And that she came into the kitchen to join the fight in order to hit the second suspect with that crutch.
Waya ke ngasekitchen yoba ingxenye yale impi yayenzeka khona lapha ekitchen uthi ashaye lo msolo lona ke nge-crash.
I-statement sakhe leso, but mina njengoba ngisho basukuma kuqala kunami. Njengoba basukuma uyena uma wakhe no-Kid basukuma kuqala kunami.
That would be her version.
And her version,
like I have already said, that they were the very first people to stand up and they accosted this person. It was herself, that is Zandi Khumalo, Kelly Khumalo, and Mrs. Khumalo Senior, or their mother.
And further she testified that because of her stature being short and tiny, and there were people in front of her, she couldn't actually hit the second suspect. That's when you took the crutch from her and hit the suspect, the second suspect on the head with that crutch.
Thina ngenxa ukuthi ke beke mfishane umzimba omncanyana nje nayo wayengakhona ke ukushaya lo msolo lo. Wena ke wasuthatha icrash kuyena washaya umsolo lo wesibili.
Ngiyakuzwa but angikhumbuli ngisebenzisa i-crash mina. According to statement sakhe asibhalile angeke mina ngisishintshe esakhe, but angisikhumbuli nje ngithatha i-crash mina.
I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Well, I do not remember taking a crash and hitting this person with it.
Ngamshaya ngenqindi mina lo.
I hit him with a punch. Or a clenched fist. I do not remember taking that would actually be her evidence. But I cannot change her evidence. I cannot change her statement.
Your evidence is that you then hit the second suspect with a fist, correct?
Wamshaya ngenqindi lo wesibili. That's correct.
When did that happen in the context of the scuffle that was happening in the kitchen?
Lokho kwenzeka nini? Maqondana ke nalokho okwakwenzeka khona laphana ekitchen.
Ngalesikhathi usenza mbambele ingalo yangala.
At that time that Senzo had pinned him against the wall.
Ngalesikhathi ngithi ngiyaphumile angabona khona usenze mbambele lesilo engashaya khona ngasaphuma ngomnyango.
Now it was at the time that I had purpose to exit the house, and when I saw Senzo pinning him like that against the wall, that's when I decided, no, I'm no longer exiting the house. I then unleashed a punch against him.
Now, did the first and the second suspects fight back or retaliate as they were being assaulted by the people from the house?
Bayiphindisela yini ngoba beshawa abantu abangaphakathi. Sengisho bona ke ummangalelo wokuqala okanye umsolo wokuqala nomsolo wesibili. Bayiphindisela yini?
I think ukuphuma kwesibhamu ikhona ababezama ukuthi basithuse ngako or benze lento abayenza because sathi masiqhuma isibhamu ngabaleka mina ngawungena ekamereni.
I think the gunshot that was discharged could have been their attempt to disperse us or to ward us off, because after that, that's when I ran to go and hide myself, to hide myself in the bedroom.
Now, Mthokozisi Twala testified in this court that he was not part of the scuffle because he was protecting Christian from being harmed. So he watched the scuffle from his vantage point at the entrance passageway of the kitchen inside. What role did he play, if at all, Mthokozisi Twala in the scuffle?
Umthokozisi ke uthi yena iqhaza libamba laphayana ukuthi makavikele uChristian. Kanti ke beke ngekho kangako laphayana ku lokhu donsisana lapho okanye ukulisana okwakhona laphayana. Uthini ke wena ngendlela owabona ngakhona ube kuphi ke umthokozisi mayelana ke nalokho kwakwenzeka khona laphana kuleyo passage kuya ngasekitchen.
Umthokozisi uqinisile umthokozisi asimuntu othanda ukulala ngiyasozoza kuthulile onjani so
he's telling the truth. He's not the kind of a person that likes getting involved in fights.
Ubengekho la kwenzeka yonke lento so nje bengemuva angazi ukuthi wayenzani nje bethi ayizamprotect uChristian because Christian naye wayeleke yaluza la.
He was not the part of that commotion that was happening there. He was just behind. I think he was indeed trying to protect Christian. I don't know what Christian was doing there, but he was trying to protect him.
And what role did Kelly Khumalo play in the scuffle?
Khona lapho kuleso scuffle uKelly yena ke ubambe luphi iqhaza lapho?
Angingasho lo ngicela uzoyizela naye lo azoyichazela la ecourt lo angingasho wabamba yiphi part.
I don't know what part did he take or how did she participate in that scuffle. She will come and present her own evidence before this honorable court.
And your testimony is that after the first gunshot, you ran to a second bedroom, that is the one next to the one where Kelly ran, and then you closed the door behind you, correct?
Usho kanjalo emva ukuthi isibhamu siqume kanye okokuqala wasuyagijima ke wena wangena kulela gumbi lesibili lokulala wafika wayivalela ngakhona ilokho kushilo.
Yebo.
Yes, that is what I said.
And if I understood your testimony correctly yesterday, is that it is the very same room where Kelly's daughter Tingo was also sleeping at the time, correct?
Uma ngabe ngizwe kahle izolo umuntu uthula ubufakazi bakho yilelo gumbi ke la kwakulele khona ke indodakazi kaKelly uTingo.
100% correct.
100% correct.
And furthermore, that when you entered that room, you found that she was awake, probably woken up by the commotion and the noise in the house, correct?
Uthi ke wena musufika ngalapha kulelo gumbi wase umthola sekevukile waqama ukuthi ingenxa yalokho kwakwenzeka la endlini umsindo yabona.
Yebo kunjalo.
It is indeed so, yes.
And that when you ran to that room, you also took your phone with because you wanted to hide, or you hid your phone beneath the blankets that were in that room, correct?
No, ukuthi ke ungena kulelo gumbi uphethe cellphone yakho wayifihla ke ngaphansi kwalezo ingubo ezazistekiwe njengala.
Kunjalo.
It is indeed so.
Now, why didn't you call for help from your cell phone, because you were now behind a locked room in the house at that stage? Why didn't you call for help, because a gunshot has just been fired in the house?
Ingani ke ungazange wazama ukuthola usizo wena uphethe cellphone kanti ke ungakulela gumbi uzivalele ngakhona sekube nekuxhuma kwesibhamu khona la endlini ingani ungazange wazama ukuthola usizo?
Angazi mithi ngazama ukuthola usizo kwakuyi first time ngiyakulowa muzi and angazi umuntu lapha abantu engibazi babela endlini ngizolicela kubani usizo ngicela ngicacisele lapho ukuthi ngizolicela kubani usizo.
I don't know how was I going to be in the position to seek for help. That was my first time going to that house. I don't know any person in that vicinity. The only people that I knew were inside of the same house in which I was. Perhaps you can try and clarify that for me.
Calling for help by dialing toll-free 10111.
Mhlambe ke ukufona lapho 10111.
Angazi ngayidala leyo number mina empilweni yami nje. Angazi ngayidala nokuthi ke if ukulesa simo yabona makwaba senkingeni awufani umuntu ongakazi abenkingeni umuntu ongazi abenkingeni kululu khuluma ukuthi awenzanga ngani kanje awenza so kulesa sikhathi ngangibona ngaphansi kwesinye isimo hayi lesi esinjengalesi.
Now I've never used that number before, and the circumstance that I found myself under, it was an unusual circumstance, and as a result I couldn't even think of it, of doing whatever that is expected of me. You know, a person who has never been in a predicament, it would be easy for them to say that, why couldn't you do that, than a person who is in a predicament. So in other words, a person that is in a predicament experiences the challenge differently than that one that was never in a predicament.
Now, having listened attentively to your testimony and about the robbery incident, the ineptitude and the lack of preparation by the alleged suspects, I'm led to believe that we are dealing with one of Mzansi's dumbest criminals. Would you agree?
Uyabona ke uma sesibheke ngendlela abebengayilungiselela ngakhona indlela abayephethe ngakhona sengikhuluma ngabo labo bantu abangena lapha endlini ushuthi ke mase sibuka leso sithombe isiyabona nathi la eMzansi asibhekene negebengu ezidomo kabi
Mawusigebengu ngifayile uziyofunda ugebengu ngabe isigebengu ufundile ngabe isigebengu ungafundanga so ucabanga ugebengu akufani.
You don't have to go to school to be a criminal. You can be a criminal that hasn't gone to school. You can also be a criminal that is well versed.
You see, the reason I'm asking you is for the following propositions. According to your testimony, this is an armed robbery for money and phones. Yet people in the house, one, Zandile Kumalo testified that the minute that demand was made, she hid her phone beneath the cushion where she was sitting.
Yabona enye iyezathu enza ukuthi mhlambe ukuthi ngikhulume ngale ndlela ukuthi uZandile ukhulumile lokho uthi makezwa nje ukuthi manje kufuneka ama cellphone wase ufihla i-cellphone ngaphansi kwe-cushion la ebehleli khona. Kungukuthi bakhona labantu la endlini.
Yeah, but angeke ngakhuluma kakhulu ngoZandile Mr. Mspel because statement sakhe leso ufishi nami endlini angeke ngibuke wonke umuntu uthi wenzani umuntu seseyinakela ngaleso sikhathi.
Now I cannot speak on behalf of Zandile. That's her statement, Advocate Ramasipile. And mind you, I also am inside of the house. I cannot be monitoring every move that is done by every person who's inside of the house.
And two, Makumalo's phone is charging right at the kitchen on top of a stove somewhere.
Okwesibili, naye phone kaMakhumalo phezu kwesitofu eduze nesitofu laphayana iyachargewa khona lapho.
But the intruders don't take it.
Kodwa labangeneleli abayithathi leyo cellphone.
Angeke ngachaza ke lo ngifuna ukuchaza ukungena kuloko ngoba akubhalwanga yimina so bengingajabula ama mbuzo yakho mayingaqonda exactly entweni ibhalwe yimi so le bhalwe umunye umuntu uzozizela ine court ayichazeleni ukuthi usho ukuthi babe ngiyenza kanjani into kanje yabo.
Well, I cannot be explicit on that one. This is something that was not narrated by myself. It is not something that was not written by me. I would really appreciate if the questions were really have to do with myself, what I observed or witnessed. I can't say anything pertaining to what I said. For your information, my phone was in my possession.
And three, Longwe Twala, who possibly has got a phone or cash on him, is also allowed to leave the house without being searched for sale.
Okunye futhi nangu lo. Unemali kuyena kuyakhonakala. Futhi une cellphone bayamvumela nje ukuthi aphume.
Ubani othwele imali lo?
Who says that Longe was in possession of the cash?
And four, the intruders do not even search the people in the house for money and cell phones.
Okwesine, labantu abangena endlini ababaseshi labantu abasendlini. Babaseshe ukuthi bafuna ama cellphone nemali kubo ababaseshi inhlobo.
I think uma uzosesha umuntu kufanele ube nendlela ozomlalisa ngayo or ummise ngendlela ozomisa ngayo. So sasinike ukuphusha ukuthi asibanjise udongora sasilaliswe phansi. So babezosesha kanjani?
How were they going to search us? I think that if you have to search a person, you must position them in a conducive, position that would allow you to can be able to search them. Perhaps you can even tell them, lie down or stand against the wall. So all of us were not instructed to do that.
And lastly, the intruders, one of them armed with a firearm, are assaulted by people in the house who are barely armed, crutches and spoons and fists, but they do nothing to retaliate and
Is
that correct? They do nothing. The evidence I'm listening to is that a firearm went off and Senzo apparently got injured and subsequently died.
Okay, let's leave that one. Let me throw that one.